to Down Your Unders. Down Your Unders. Review and dissection of content from some of the sharpest minds in the game. Hosted by Adam Camilleri. Art of War. Down Under.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 163 of the Art of War Down Under podcast. My name, as always, is Adam Cam something. Probably never heard of me, but someone you have heard of is the WTC maestro himself, the Plague Lord of Down Under, Mr. Matt Morosoli himself. How you doing, mate?
The Plague Lord. I've been promoted from Plague Hulk. How kind and benevolent of you.
It got legended, right? So it had to evolve.
Oh, I guess so, mate. Let's go with that, Plague Lord. I sound like TJ Lanigan with that. So don't know how I feel, but we'll roll with it, Adam. We'll roll with it.
We're rolling with something, and mostly it's with the punches, as various factions get nerfed and buffed as we are here to disseminate this balanced data slate. We are doing this pretty soon after it's come out, like within a couple of hours. So a lot of what we're doing is off the cuff. I haven't had much of a chance to sit down and really deep dive things, but we're going to get our red hot takes out of the way. So if stuff that we have said turns out to be correct, because, we've had a weekends of eyeballs on this thing and disseminating, and, our off the cuff stuff isn't 100% cherry freaking ripe, that is why. And we do apologize for it. Mate, how you doing? Back from another pretty successful WTC adventure. You're ready to get some more 40k under your belt?
Oh, I'm kind of wish this had come out a couple of months ago, right? And we could have played a WTC meta that wasn't horrendous. But here we are. My invigoration for 40k is somewhat renewed with these new rules. So it's pretty exciting, man.
Absolutely.
The game was a bit average. Yeah, was a bit average when it came out. Like, the game itself is fine, but the meta was a bit average when it came out, and the fixes didn't really do much to sort of solve that. But this looks like we might start getting some interesting games of 40k, and I'm pretty keen to play games that feel like real games.
This is so much more than I actually expected. I expected a by the numbers, top two factions get hit, bottom two factions get buffed kind of experience, and I am so freaking happy that they went with a big broad brush approach, and just about every faction has been changed and altered in some way, for the better, for the worse, etc., as you needed your nerfs and buffs. And generally speaking, they got it mostly right. There's one or two factions that I think got hit when they didn't need to be hit, and there's a couple that got hit too hard or not hard enough. But generally, I'm pretty freaking happy with this data slate. What about yourself?
Yeah, look, I think the rules changes themselves are all positive. The balance changes in terms of unit points costs are a little bit, all over the place is probably too harsh, but I think they've hit the mark in some places and not quite in other places. But the rules changes themselves are all pretty solid.
So my biggest concern going into this was that they weren't going to have the foresight approach to nerf things that may become problems should they deal with the big offenders. So case in point, if they only identified Eldar and GSC as being too good, and then they annihilate those two, and then we have T-Sons, Custodes, Necrons, and Imperial Knights just doing exactly the same thing, but we have it in 4 factions instead of 2 factions. And so that was the kind of fear that I had. But no, it looks like they've got plenty of foresight. In addition, they've buffed a plenty of armies. They didn't just buff Votan, Death Guard, Admech. They went and they helped out Sisters a bit with points, and they did a bunch of other good things there. But jumping into this balanced data slate, guys, if you do not know, though, Art of War Down Under is a 2-part podcast. First part, this is coming out Tuesday morning after the data slate has dropped. If you're listening to this back and things have changed, and who knows, it might be years from now when you listen to this back. If you are, hello, what is wrong with you? Catch up. But the second part is available over on my Patreon, which is Art of War Down Under there. Please go check that out. Matt, are you still doing coaching, Matt? You still up for purchase?
Oh, up for free use, mate. I certainly am. The AOWdu40k.com for all of that. If you want a list, if you want to whinge about dice to someone and pay to do it, I guess you can do that as well. The AOWdu40k.com, I'm there under the coaching. I think we're just revamping all the coaching pages, probably by the time this comes out, actually. So there should be some cute photos of me rolling dice in my living room on my profile, a little thing I've written up. It should be great. Check it out.
Fantastic. All right, mate, let's jump into this. First up in the core rules section, we have the devastating wounds. Delete the example from this ability and change the text to read. Weapons with devastating wounds in their profile are known as devastating wound weapons. Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, if that attack scores a critical wound, that being a 6, or if you modify it on your whatevers, no saving throw of any kind can be made against that attack, including invulnerable saves. Such attacks are only allocated to models after all other attacks made by the attacking unit have been allocated and resolved. This is a fundamental and titanic change to possibly the most powerful thing in this edition. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, well, it means that anti-tank weapons with dev wounds are anti-tank weapons with dev wounds. They're not anti-tank weapons that roll a 6 and kill a whole attack squad.
Exactly right.
That's the only what happens, right? So this is good. This is a strictly positive change. There's essentially no negatives to this change. I really like it. I think this is one of the biggest things they could have done to fix the game, and I think this is going to go a long way to fixing balance.
I think this was going to go a gigantic way to rebalancing a hell of a lot of the game. I like the change. I think it's elegant. I think it's very simple as well, just fundamentally changing what it does. I think there's a multitude of things they could have done. The only consternations I have is that a bunch of factions and units are going to need to get possibly rebalanced in the future. Because, I mean, if we're taking away devastating wounds, where do mortals come from anymore? Because there's not many psychic powers that do mortals anymore. There's not many guns that do mortals or attacks that do mortals. There's very few abilities that actually generate mortal wounds now. So all the abilities that we have in the game that give you resistance to get mortal wounds just lost. The arse just fell out of their value, which is fine. We'll just be rebalancing internally in our lists and stuff. But it does invalidate a lot of rules that used to be relevant, and that's essentially the only devil's advocate hat that I have to put on at this stage, because this is freaking awesome.
Yeah, there's not much that has a filial pain just against mortals. Like Custode's obviously one of them, but what else has a filial pain that only works against mortals? I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
There's a bunch of Dark Angel stuff, which I suppose is why it's coming to mind for me, because
but they also get it once per game though, right? Like the Dark Angels, all
true.
Like the Terminator unit get it once per game. Like sure, probably like the mortal wound protection should almost be I guess changed to be like mortal or devastating wound protection for a lot of those things.
For stuff like the Dark Angels, it does not matter because it's a free upgrade that was once per game. It's not a big deal. I'm more talking about Custodes, I guess, where it was an integral part of their detachment and of their rules, and now it doesn't do anything. Can you actually think of anything that actually dunks mortal wounds now? Because all I can think of is there's a Grey Knight ability to do 6s to do a single mortal wound in addition. And I can't think of anything that's anything apart from a couple of niche strats and like the grenade strat, stuff like that, that's going to be dealing like 5, possibly even 6 mortal wounds at a time.
Yeah, Doombolt, Tank Shock.
Yes, yep.
The Tantalus when it charges.
Yeah, boy, watch out.
There's not very many. Yeah, they should probably just rework anything that has mortal wound protection to be mortal and dev protection. Would make the most sense, I think.
Fair. All right. Next up, read out and tell us about the modifying CP cost stuff.
Yeah. So rules that allow you to modify the cost of a stratagem when you target a particular unit can only do so for a stratagem that targets multiple units. If every unit this is terribly written. My apologies. I'm going to start again because the word unit's in here like 20 times. Rules that modify the CP cost of a stratagem when you target a particular unit can only do so for a stratagem that targets multiple units if every unit you target has the same ability to modify the CP cost of the stratagem. Yo. I feel like I'm going to read this 10 times to figure out what it means. Oh, there's more. There's more, though. Rules that modify the CP cost of a stratagem but that don't specify the name of the stratagem can only be used to affect the CP cost of a battle tactic stratagem. This does not apply to the Aircast Colossus, Striding Colossus, or Towering Wraith construct abilities. So, yeah, this is a thing.
So do not ignore all of that, is my opinion. It's written so ridiculously.
It's so strange, isn't it? Yeah,
so freaking strange. But it boils down to if the ability doesn't specify what the name of the stratagem you're getting to use is, it has to be a battle tactic stratagem or you can't use it. is what I've extrapolated from the example. The example they've given here is that a captain's right of battle enables it to targeted by a stratagem for 0 CP. The ability does not specify a name of a stratagem, and so it can only be used for battle tactic stratagems. Whereas Azuman's tactical acumen ability specifically denotes firing Overwatch again for 0 CP, and therefore you get to use it regardless of it's being a strategic ploy and not a battle tactics. This is very confusing, but yeah, and suffice to say, if it doesn't, if your thing says it can use use a stratagem again for 0 CP or for less CP, it has to either name the strat or be a battle tactic strat. And
this is probably one of the worst written things I've seen in a while. There had to be a better way to write this, right? Like, surely.
Yeah. I think so. But fundamentally, I think it's a good change. There's no more double and tripling up on the Overwatch. There's no more free Overwatches in addition. Stuff like that is only good, I think, for the game. And they have changed a bunch of the generalist stratagems to either be battle tactics or not be battle tactic stratagems, as we'll probably see them come up in the meta. But it's time for everyone to crack open their indexes again and just check if their battle tactic strats are any good.
Yeah, there you go. Look, I'll be honest, I don't know what any of my strats for any of my armies are in terms of categories, so we're about to find out how good or bad my army is.
It's pretty much never mattered before. But anyway, moving on. Next up, we have Fire Overwatch, the strat here. Pretty much, it's exactly the same, but the red text here, the stuff that has changed, is that you have to be visible. The target has to be visible of the firing unit, and you cannot use this strat on a Titanic unit. So those are two big nerfs to two of the worst offenders in the meta. There is another hit to towering coming, which I think made this not as big a deal. Had they done one or done the other, I don't know if they needed to do both, and we'll find out as things eventuate. But definitely taking this away from indirect's a good thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. Things, especially like Thunderfires and like, I don't know, like Night Spinners that modify movement and doing it from out of line of sight just when you move, that was a pretty big feel bad.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good change.
100%.
Not letting Titanic units Overwatch, like, sure, it's more anti-Wraith Knight tech. Honestly, it's more layered Wraith Knight nerfs. But in general, this is fine. Like, sure, it probably feels bad for Knight players that you can't Overwatch. That's, a bit rough.
I mean, so Chaos Knights don't feel it as much because the Chaos Knight meta was already leaning towards the War Dog. As you took to WTC and went undefeated, it was leaning towards the War Dog skew rather than the big boys. But the Imperial Knights were sometimes taking up to 3 big boys, and now none of them getting Overwatch does kind of suck.
Yeah, see, again, like, I think without overcomplicating this, I would have liked those Knights to be able to Overwatch when they're the target of a charge. Like, you should be able to Overwatch when you get charged rather than just standing in the middle of the board with a Knight with a Flamer and being like, lol, don't come within 24.
Well, then it would be changed to say you cannot target a Titanic unit with this stratagem in the movement phase. That would be sick.
Yeah, correct. So that would have been a more eloquent change, I think. But again, this is probably fine. People who play Titanic models are normally losers anyway, so who really cares, right?
All right, tell us about.
I played Knights WTC, by the way. I'm a loser too. It's all good.
You did. Oh, I felt that self-burn. It was well done. Tell us about Insane Bravery.
Well, you've skipped over stratagems that can be used more than once per phase, so I'm going to do that one.
Oh, sorry, mate.
So rules allow you to use a stratagem even if another unit has already been targeted by that stratagem in the same phase. So things like, I don't know, like Captain, for example, can now only be used on battle tactic stratagems unless they say the name of the stratagem you're allowed to use. So things like Azurman can still double Overwatch, but for everyone else, you are only using battle tactic stratagems. So similar to the CP cost and modifier and everything, like battle tactic strats are now the only ones that are modifiable or free use.
Free use. So just check the Astarte. Just for example, I checked the Astartes index. Armor of Contempt, Honor the Chapter, and Storm of Fire are all battle tactic strats. So you can still double up Armor of Contempt if you had a new situation for it. Okay, Insane Bravery. I'll just take over then. You have to now do Insane Bravery, which is the 1 CP, auto pass Battle Shock. You have to do it before you roll the dice now. It used to be you could roll the dice and then, choose to auto pass. Now you have to do it before you roll. The target is a unit from your army that must take a Battle Shock test. It's still in your command phase, so you can't do it against any of the, say, Dante's point at you in the whatever phase and do it. And then you automatically passed, but cannot use this stratagem more than once per battle is the restriction now. Does this fundamentally change the application here, or is this just a nice little quality of life improve for the 3 armies that function around Battleshock?
I just think it makes the Battleshock relevant.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, here's the thing, right? I played 6 rounds out of an 8-round GT last weekend.
Yep.
Don't need to talk about the games I didn't play. But I played 6 out of 8 games, right? And I think there was an auto pass in 3, maybe even 4 of those games. It actually happens pretty often. In every single one of those scenarios, not passing would have been a problem for the person who auto passed their Battleshock. So I think this is going to make this mechanic a whole lot more important, and things that, add Battleshock tests. It kind of obviously, you cause a Battleshock test in the shooting phase, the stratagems are relevant anyway. Yeah. But causing multiple Battleshock tests on a key unit now, it forces you to spend the CP before you even roll. So, if you've got a Necron Warrior unit that wants to reanimate twice and do things and, go and be annoying, if you fail that Battleshock test and you don't have the Royal Warden, and almost nobody has a Royal Warden in the Necron lists, you're actually in a whole lot of trouble. So what this is, right, is this creates a win condition into Death Stars. It creates a win condition into, anyone that has a big unit that you can just cause Battleshock tests on and then force them to spend the CP or play the game without CP. I actually think it's a really big change. I think people are sleeping on how important this one's going to be.
Yeah, I think this is quietly one of the most, game-to-game most impactful changes. Whereas I think a lot of the previous ones just fundamentally change how you're going to build lists. Devastating wounds is not something you will seek judiciously at every single point anymore. It's just changing how you're going to build lists. This is just game to game is going to change quite a bit. I mean, of course, Fire Overwatch is going to change as well, but I love it because there's 3 freaking factions, man, that all function as Battleshock as being one of their core mechanics. Chaos Knights, as you definitely know, Nids and Demons, they all function off Battleshock. And then they were like, lol, let's just give every single player the ability to just ignore your rules once per game whenever they want. After they see the freaking dice as well, I thought it was quite frustrating. Tell us about the changes to Ruins.
Yeah, so the visibility, in the way you play, the visibility doesn't change at all. The first thing is that aircraft essentially just ignore all visibility. They just measure to and from the models. Towering used to be the same. However, towering models now need to tow into a piece of terrain to shoot through. So the only line of text that's changed is at the bottom, and it says towering models that are within this terrain feature can also see out of it normally. So it's not wholly within. You don't have to have your entire base in there. You can just tow in and shoot through. But if you're standing behind a wall and an Imperial Knight sees you through 7 holes in the ruin, but they're not touching that ruin, you're safe. Welcome to 9th edition. It's almost like some of the things in 9th, actually worked. This is one of them, and it's back.
Yeah, one thing I will say about this data slate, it's showing a lot of they're catching up quicker in 10th edition than they were in 9th edition. So they're getting quicker at the things to get it back to a state of balance than they did. We struggled for, I think, 2 years of 9th edition seeking some of the places where we're almost getting to now in 10th edition. Do you think this is a good change for Easy.
Yeah, it's easy when you already have the rules written though, right? Because they wrote these rules 2 years ago and they still work.
Spot on. Do you think this is a good change to towering?
I think it's a healthy change for the game. I think in combination with the points nerfs that Imperial Knights, for example, already got, and there are more coming, brace yourself. In combination with that, it's probably a bit too much. It probably makes things like Big Knights a little bit too weak.
I tend to agree, but that's only because we've got more hits to come to big models, essentially. It looks like this was let's annihilate the big models from the face of the earth or really disincentivize them. I still think there are niche cases where, Canis Rex might make a cut in a Knight list and whatnot. But they're really being de-incentivized. But moving on, that is the core rules changes. We're about to jump into the faction changes. The first of those are Greptus Custodes, and there are quite a few. So the Unwavering Sentinel strat has been changed to the Epic Deed strat, so there's no more double up or freebies for that strat. Custodian Guard datasheet is changed to 4 to 5 Custodian Guard, so you can no longer have 10 mans or any more than 5. That's it. The same has happened for the Wardens, so you can't have up to 6. It's now 4 to 5, and you can't have. It used to be you could have 3 Wardens. Is that correct?
You used to be able to have 3 to 6, I think it was.
Yeah, I think Wardens was 3 or 6. I think the Custodian Guard was more incremental. I know the Laris is more incremental as well. I can't remember. I think the Custodian Guard was 3 or 6. But anyway, it's 4 or 5 now. And then
Alaris was like 1 to 6 pretty much, wasn't it? It was almost like...
I think they started 2, but then
2.
they went...
That's right, 2 to 6, yeah.
Yeah. And the Virtus Praetors is now 2 to 3 for their data sheet. The biggest change...
Those damn bikes.
I know.
Those damn bikes. Meta menacing.
Watch out, mate. Fundamentally a huge change to Custodian Guard, though. How do you feel about that?
I think it's very positive. I think the 10-man guard units with the characters were completely obnoxious.
Agree.
The fact that you could drop in like 2 10-man guard units with characters like double rapid ingress and then just like stomp a flank was the most oppressive thing. If you haven't experienced it, just imagine like going out and like attacking a custode flank and killing a couple of guys, losing a couple of guys, and then in your turn you move your stuff. Then 20 guard with a captain and a blade champ appear behind a wall that you can't interact with, and they're just on you the next turn. Incredibly obnoxious, and that's gone. So I'm very happy about that.
Me too. So it was the Unwavering Sentinels strat that got changed, and that was the
Fights first.
It was the fight first one. So that's no longer a battle tactic. That is now Epic Deed. I think this is a great change for the game. What I'm really interested to see is how this changes the character usage, because it was all well and good slapping a blade champion or a shield captain in with a 10-man and getting the value there. But now, would you do the same with a 5? I'm not sure if you do. I'm not sure where the lines are there. Does every single Custodian Guard unit now get, and every single Warden unit, every single Laris unit get a character, or is some are just hanging out doing whatever?
I think people will quickly realise that a more MSU style custode list is
for the better,
almost as powerful as the other one, but way more fun to play for both people.
I totally agree. Yeah, totally agree with that. I will tell you that they have had price reductions on Sagittarium and Venatari. I don't know if they're significant enough to have them see play, but it's relevant. Whereas the Custodian
possibly gone up, could they?
Couldn't have gone up, right? Whereas Custodian Guard went up 20 points for a 4-man, 20. So they went up 5 points per model. Alaris went up 5 points per model also. And the Wardens, the same, I believe. Yeah, 5. But they all went up 5 points. All right. What is the next?
We've got Admech, my man. Admech.
Oof.
I know nothing about this faction. I know they're robots and they have funky guns. And Skitarii Rangers now have a 4+ save and a 5+ invuln instead of what I believe was a 5 and a 6. And it just bumps them up by 1. And Skitarii Vanguard have the same change. Those are the only rules changes in there for Admech.
It's exactly the same lever they pulled with their, was it a supplement or was it with Army of Renown, the Skitarii Veteran Cohort? They pulled exactly the same lever previously in order to try and give them a little bit of a boost. I'm not quite sure if they know how bad Admech is, because I don't think this is enough. I haven't got
There are a lot of points changes though.
I was about to say, I think the point changes are extensive. I'm looking at their entry in the field manual now, and it's all red, which you'd hope is all of them going down. So hopefully that is enough to see them get over the line. Next up, we have the Eldari. Phantasm has been changed to be infantry only. The best stratagem ever printed now only affects infantry.
And it's still probably the best stratagem ever printed.
Dead set, still the best. And the fact is that they've told you not to take the stuff you used to use it on anyway, like all the Fire Prisms and Night Spinners and Wraith constructs have all gone up in points. You're probably going to take more infantry now anyway, so maybe it's still just as good, but at least it won't be used on a Wraith Knight.
Yeah, it's definitely still just as good. That being said, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's a lot more interactive when you're not hiding a 500-point Wraith Knight behind a building with Phantasm. If you're hiding 5 Warp Spiders or an Autark or something instead, the game is a lot more of still a game, I think, at that point.
120%. It's being used on something that's not going to fundamentally table you. There's going to be interplay. It's going to be meaningful. I think this is a fantastic change. The stratagem is still going to be used just about every game, just about every turn, every game. It's still that good.
Yeah, cool. I think so, man. Like, I think that I think the strat's powerful. I think that like a lot of Eldar players will still build around it. Like, it's going to be one of the main tools you sort of have to win games as an Eldar player, but I think it's going to be way less oppressive to play against.
That's fair. Yeah, I exactly right. It's not going to feel like the gut punch that you never see coming. Dude, it's so stupid. Like, you get full knowledge of your opponent's movement phase and then just get to be like, no. It's for once. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely, man.
All right. Tell us about agents.
We have just got the Exaction Squad datasheet has been changed. So you now take one Proctor Avactant. I don't know what that is. Then you take 9 Exaction Vigilants. I do know what they are. They're the normal Exaction dudes. Then 0 to 1 Cyber Mastiffs. Don't know what they are either. I just know what the normal Exaction Squad guys are.
Cyber Mastiffs are the puppies. They're the good old puppers.
Oh, yeah. How cute. And then we just changed the bullet point of the war gear to up to 2 Exaction Vigilants can have their Arbites combat shotguns replaced with one of the following, and then all of the weapon choices there. So what they've done is they've made the Exaction Squads go from 5 to 10 mans. They are disincentivizing 40-point scoring units basically in Knights, but in all Imperium armies. So, and I'm here for that. It's absolutely not fair that the entire Imperium gets access to this and Chaos gets garbage.
You still take the breaches if you want, which is still a 5, but they don't have the Feel No Pain. They don't have the good guns. They're essentially the combat version of the Exaction Squad, which are ridiculously cheap still. They're just not bonkers value. So you can still have your very cheap unit, but it's just not going to be what the Exaction Squad was, which I think is absolutely for the best. It is such Imperium privilege that they had access to that unit.
Yeah, I think Voidsman went to 50, so you can still get them, just not the best one that's also the cheapest one.
Correct. I have no idea what the cheapest. Death Guard have just had a whole new freaking rule added to their army, which is amazing. It's called Spread the Sickness. It's a new detachment rule. During the declare battle formation step, select one of the sicknesses below. Until the end of the battle, all units from your army with the Nurgle's Gift ability gain the selected sickness. So Skull, Squirm, Blight, Aura, they're all auras. When an enemy unit is within contagion range of this, worsen the ballistic skill and weapon skill characteristic of weapons equipped by those models by 1. So it's weapon skill, ballistic skill, so minus as the hits still count as well. So that's very nice. Rattle Joint, AOWdu, whatever. Well, an enemy unit is within contagion range of this unit, worsen the save characteristic of models in that unit by 1. That's sick. And Scabrous Soul Rot. While an enemy unit is within engagement range of this unit, worsen the leadership and OC by 1 to a minimum of 1. Whew. Okay, and they change the parenthesis at the end of each current rule too. So enemy units within engagement range of it will have their characteristics modified. Okay, I don't know why that needed to be done. What do you think of the rule?
Yeah, because it said characteristic before, but now it says characteristics. Because the toughness one still applies.
Beautiful.
So the leadership one is hot garbage.
Yeah.
Don't know why that's even there, to be honest. The other two are very good. The other two are genuinely very, very good rules.
100%.
-1 save into Grey Knights, Terminators, -1 weapon skill, ballistic skill into Tau. How good?
Well, the -1 weapon skill, ballistic skill, I was thinking about that into Guard, into Votan, into Tyrannid Swarm. When you put them all at hitting on 5s, it's huge. And then you can leverage, minuses to hit and stealth and stuff like that to put them on freaking 6s. It can be really big. The thing I love, though, is the idea of finding the fastest, dumbest unit that I don't care about and just using it as an aura of -1 save against my opponent and just flying it around.
Sorry, Adam, it's Death Guard.
Nothing moves fast.
Nothing's fast. And nothing's cheap. And nothing's cheap.
I'm a dreamer. What can I say?
But yeah, really good. Will it be enough? Remains to be seen. I haven't written a Death Guard list with the new rules yet. So, hey, maybe it is enough to make some interesting builds work. I like that it's a weapon skill modifier, not a hit modifier. So it does stack. That's, really interesting. I think it's a good change. I think it's a very positive change for Death Guard players.
What's the name of the Flesh Mel unit? Foated Blight Drone, 100 points.
You go to 100. 100's not bad.
100's not bad. Maybe that guy's... It's still we're talking about something that's still not actually that fast. It's Rhino speed. It's not stonking up the board turn 1 for you. But, might be a thing.
Meet my friend Rapid Ingress, mate. Rapid Ingress solves all problems.
Also a great idea. But yeah, I really hope that Death Guard can actually start to play the game again. My biggest issue is that let's say they made Death Guard the best army in the game, everyone just takes like triple Night Speed or triple Thunderfire and just makes them all move too. Who cares? Can't play the game again.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that.
All right, tell us how they murdered Deathwatch.
Yeah, so they've just changed the 3 stratagems, the 3 like specialist rounds, so the Dragonfire, Hellfire, and Kraken rounds to only affect bolt weapons. So there's a whole list of bolt weapons here. I'm not going to read them out for you because I don't think I want to say the word bolt 70 times. But these specialist ammunition rounds only affect bolt weapons. They affect almost all of the weapons you'd expect, all of your vet guns, your stern guard, those sort of things. Shouldn't be too much of a change. Obviously doesn't affect Desolators anymore because let's be honest, Kraken round Desolators can like literally go never come back.
Well, good news, mate. they're gone. They're what a coincidence.
Well, Desolators in general have been zucked. They've sold enough of them. It's time to get rid of the data sheet.
So notably here, the frag, of course, the frag cannons aren't here, which is the other thing that got a good leverage out of these strats as well. So, yeah. Next up, we have GSC. The Cult Ambush Army rule has changed. The first paragraph now reads, if your army faction is GSC, each time a unit with this ability is destroyed, roll a d6, adding 1 to the result if a unit is battle line, and adding 1 to the result if it's the first or second battle round. On a 5+, add a new unit to your army identical to destroyed unit, blah, blah, blah. Everything else is the same. So on turn 1, if you use a battle line unit, comes back on a 3, and then the rest of the game is or round 2. From 3 onwards, it comes back on a 4. Everything else on a 5. But you also add 1 for anything that dies in turn 1 and turn 2. So anything that dies in turn 1 and turn 2 is coming back on a 4 or better, and then thereafter on a 5 if they're not battle line. How do you feel about this one?
Oh, it's very good. It's a very good change.
It's real good. Praise be.
Yeah. Like GSC weren't like winning tournaments because of Eldar. But if Eldar had been nerfed and GSC had been left the way they were, I guarantee you next weekend it's going to be 60% Gene Store Cult win rate.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Correct.
This gets rid of the stupid I can't kill anything feel bads, man. People are having such a bad time with this army. It's so unfun when everything comes back. This is a really good change.
The Italian Jackal's datasheet Outrider Gang's ability has been changed too. Each time you use the Cult Ambush ability to set this unit up back on the battlefield, in addition to the normal rules, all of its models must be set up wholly within 9 of a battlefield edge, and at least one of its models must be touching one of your Cult Ambush markers. That marker is then removed, blah, blah, blah. Does this change what it does now in that you can... Because right now, I think it reads that just like everything has to be within range of the puck, right? They have to all be within, I think it's 3 or 6 inches of the ambush marker. Is this meaning that they can string now with Jackals?
That is a WTC FAQ and not a GW FAQ. So what this is saying is basically you can't just put a marker in the middle of the board and have the bikes deep strike in the middle of the board. They've got to come on touching the edge. Is all this is really changing.
Easy done. Grey Knights quickly. Haloed in Soulfire has been changed to not to be a strategic ploy. I'll quickly look up what that one is while Maddie tells you about Imperial Knights.
Yeah, so the bonds abilities have changed. Now it's all the same. It's only the Armiger unit that gets affected by the bonds ability. So your Warden hands out -1 damage to an Armiger. The Warden itself does not get the -1 damage anymore. Very big change. Imperial Knights are, like I said before, Titanic models are big losers. Imperial Knights are big losers here. That feels pretty bad.
Yep.
It's going to make the big Knights a lot worse.
And then Thunderstomps changed to Epic Deed and Trophy Claims 2CP, Valiant Last Stands 2CP. That was the same as previously. The Grey Knight strat that got changed was the essentially the lone op strat. The 2CP, you can't be targeted unless you're within 12 strat. So now that's no longer...
because that shouldn't be free.
Correct. That was a good change. But yeah, this, to me, is the nail in the coffin of big Knights for Imperial Knights. And it's just going to remain to be seen whether the little Knights are enough to carry it like in Chaos Knights. And I've got a feeling they're not. Because unlike Chaos Knights, they don't have a freaking Brigand.
Yeah, well, there was a Brigand nerf as well, to be fair. But
true.
Yeah. Look, I think it's going to be one big and lots of small for Imperial Knights. I think you're still going to want the bondsman abilities. Probably still going to want, like, man, you could run the Lancer. Like the Lancer just goes and messes stuff up, and he's got a good bondsman ability too. Like, you can run just him, and then like a whole bunch of small dudes. That's probably a fine list. But Imperial Knights are going to get hurt pretty bad here.
Does Canis even have a buff? Like, does he even have? I don't even think he has a bondsman ability.
I don't believe so. He shoots good.
You're not losing anything by, like, he hasn't lost anything in this.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe he's the take.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
All right, next up we have Leagues of Votann, and they just have a brand new detachment rule called Ruthless Efficiency. Change the first paragraph to read, at the start of the battle, select a number of units from your opponent's army depending on the battle size as shown. One relevant here is that Strike Force is 4 units. Each of those units starts the battle with 2 judgment tokens on them. At the start of any of your command phases, any of those units, if at the start of your command phases they have been destroyed, you gain a number of CP depending on how early in the battle you destroyed it, as shown below, etc., 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 as per normal. This is pretty good. This is with the points changes that they got. This is like essentially almost a fundamental rethink of the faction. What do you make of it?
Yeah, this is going to make Votann a whole lot better. I think the first time a lot of people play against Votann after this change, they're going to be surprised by how much damage they do. It's pretty good.
So legitimately, they're going to. So just to break it down for people, at the start of the game, they're going to put down 4 +1 to hit, +1 to wounds on your units. They're going to say this one, this one, this one, a +1 hit, +1 to wound, straight off the bat before the game's even started. And I think that is extremely a much better place to start for them, especially with their whole army hits on freaking 4s, and will now at least go to 3s.
Yeah, they're going to have a whole lot more stuff as well. You would think. I'm pretty sure they will. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. All right, last one.
All right, Space Marine players, say goodbye to your Desolation squads. Go put them on buy, swap, and sell right now. Change the bullet point in unit composition for Desolators to be 1 Desolation Sergeant and 4 Desolation Marines. No more 10-mans, no more sticking buffs on them. Don't even bother putting an Apothecary in there. They're going to die the first time you look at them. Desolation Marines are gone out of the game.
Dead. I have to say I hate this change.
Nah, it's great.
Well, the thing is, I don't really care now because we've got a codex coming that's going to kind of reshuffle everything anyway. But if this was to happen, say, 2 months ago, that would have been the best unit the Marines have, would have been absolutely destroyed. And the next best unit is like over the hill, far, far away. Desolation Marines were by far the best unit in the Space Marine Index, and it wasn't even close. Like the next best is probably Aggressors, I guess, who have to take the same buffs. Like you can't have both units in the same army because they both need Bolter Discipline. They both need a Storm of Fire and everything like that. So like you can only ever have one super unit, and it was always Desos. But now they're dead. So yeah.
Yeah, but your best unit should be an indirect fire unit that sits in the back of the board and just kills stuff. It's terrible.
That should just be a rule, like, that should be up on the whiteboard in GW. Like, what is the best unit in X army? Is it an interactive piece of crap? Should therefore delete it. But anyway, that is the balanced data slate portion of this. Now, I have all the points changes up from the field manual, and we are going to go through every faction for a minute or two and just talk about up or down. I mean, Matt's going to throw out a couple of units maybe that come to mind for him that could be good if they got up or down, and I'll be able to tell him if they went up or down. Because like I said, we're doing this very soon in the piece of when this is coming out. My man.
Yes.
Sisters.
Everything went down.
Everything actually went down or stayed the same. Yeah.
So I played Sisters on the weekend, Adam, and the army at 2,000 points had 31 units.
That's a lot of units.
It's an absolute shitload of units.
None of them
and now they're even cheaper. None of them... No, so most of them do nothing. Yeah. I've got this sneaky feeling that Sisters are kind of good.
Yep. I hope that's the case, man.
We'll find out. I could be wrong.
We will. So Repentia down 10 points. The issue with Repentia is not their points. It is their output, their damage output. Just ain't there. Celestine went down 15. Triumph went down 25. Both pretty relevant units, I think. Did Retributors go down? Retributors went down 15 as well. Yeah. Not too bad.
So the key here is Arco Flags, it's Crusaders, it's the where is it? Yeah, the Zephs and the Seraphim stayed the same. They're already cheap enough that it doesn't really matter. The Penitents stayed the same, and they were already pretty good. So like the stuff that was actually good is going to stay the same. But the fact that you could have like 3 units of Crusaders for 75 points, 3 units of Arco Flags for 120, 3 units of Deathclaw Assassins for 105, you just have all these scoring units, and then you basically build up this like pool of miracle dice. Then you use the term where the Triumph makes them all 6s and lets you use as many as you like, and then you bust out this Retributor squad that hits with every shot, wounds with every shot, and every shot does 8 damage. It's pretty good.
Fair. That sounds actually sick.
It's kind of spicy.
Yeah.
I actually think Sisters might be okay. I don't think they're going to go and they're going to win GTs. But I reckon you could get to you could go like 5-1 with the Sisters army right now.
So the one buff I wanted to see happen for Sisters is that how there's the power armor caveat with cover. I wanted to see that removed for Sisters. Being toughness 3, I think whatever. You shouldn't have to cop that nerf when you're in cover as well. Leave that for the toughness 4, the toughness 5 armies, etc. All right. Next up, Custodes. Pretty much everything, got hit except for the 2 we pointed out previously. We've kind of already done this one though.
Yeah, all the main Custodes are up 5. A couple of the characters went up, and a couple of the Forge World ones went down. It's going to net you like a couple of less Custode models per army, I think. But you're already not going to run 10-mans anymore anyway. So I think it'll be Custodes plus an ally. I think it's going to be the army. It's going to be Custodes plus some cheap scoring units somewhere.
But mate, Virtus Praetors went down 10 points a model. Watch out.
Yeah, look, so
they're coming for you.
I kind of don't care about that.
That's fair. I don't care either.
It's going to make no difference. Yeah.
Venatari did go down 35 for 5. So yeah, they're 200 points for 5 of them. Actually doesn't sit them too off the same points as Custodian Guard, actually. So would you take 5 Custodian Guard for 250, or would you just go for 6 Venatari at 400? Wait a second. No, they're 3 and 6. Never mind. All good in the hood.
They're not quite that cheap.
I forgot the Custodian Guard were pricing on 4 and 5. Never mind.
Yeah. I think it's fine. I think the army's still playable. I actually think Custode players are going to be pleasantly surprised at how much fun the small units are to play.
I think it's going to be, like I said before, a much better experience for all involved. Next up, we have Admech, and they can only go up from where they were. So let's hope that is the case, because they were in the bottom 3 factions in the game, both for playability and win rate. So it wasn't even like the faction experts were doing amazingly with them, like there's secret tech there. But everything that I can see went down. What are some key units?
I don't know enough about what's actually important here, to be completely honest. Like, everything went down, so you get more of everything. I don't know which units are actually like turbo overcosted versus just normally overcosted.
Well, I can tell you that the units that I see, like Cataphront Breaches, are down 5 points per 3, which doesn't sound like a lot. Same for the Destroyers. Onega Dooncrawler stayed the same. That doesn't matter. Where's the Cerberus Raiders? They're down 15 points for 3, so 30 points for the full 6. Where is the Sicarans? They're down 2 points per model, essentially, is how I'm seeing it. And the Dragoons, yes, that's the real money. Yeah, Dragoons are down 5 points a model.
Sure.
Checks
out.
Sorry, 7.5 points per model.
Ooh.
No, I was correct.
No,
I was correct. 15 points per model.
Yeah.
Sorry, I read hard. It's hard. So the 2 units that got buffed though, Skitarii Rangers is down 35 points for 10, and Vanguard is down 20 points for 10. So Vanguard down 2 points per model. Rangers down even more.
Yes, the min-max here is obviously taking a boatload of those units that got buffed and significant points drops. But again, I don't know enough about this faction to know what's actually meaningful here and what's not, to be honest.
Fair enough. On to the big one then. Adeptus Titanicus. No, joking. Eldari.
Nothing changed. Eldar. All right.
Lots to chat about here. Fundamentally, everything went up in points, but also fundamentally, I still think it's the best faction in the game. What do you think?
Ooh, I'm not sure. Be pretty close. Necron's a better, man.
Yeah, see, I keep thinking Necrons are better, but you've pointed out some good ways that people can bug out Necrons, and I'm starting to see that as well. Like precision's going to become a huge deal, and precision and movement modifiers will become a huge deal if Necrons really start dominating. But like Yinkan is up 80 points. It could have been 180. I would have been happier. What about the Wraith Knight? I think it went up 45, 35.
475 up to 510. Mm-hmm. Wraith Guard are up 20. Were they 320 for 10 before?
340 now. So 30 points for 10 went up.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Both Farseers are up a little bit. Fire Prism's up to 180 from 160. The D-Cannon's up to 125 from 110, I think.
Yep, Fire Prism's up 30 points, 150 to 180. Yep. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, and then like Shadow Spectres are 95 for 5, 125 with the Exarch. That kind of hurts. What else really matters? Warp Spiders are up 5 per 5.
That's fine.
That's just is up 20.
That's it.
Was that
really?
just 70 before? Was it 70 before?
Death Jester is up 20. You're exactly right. They're 90 now. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know most of this. I'm just guessing by how many lists over at WTC.
I've got the changes here, so you just realize.
The Warwalker's up 15?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, and then a few of the other, like, the Autarchs are up and stuff.
So I actually priced up, so Ben Jurek's going to a major this week, or the weekend just gone by the time you're hearing this, and he took pretty much the ubiquitous, double spinner, double fire prism, single hornet, single warwalker, warp spider, specters, wraith knight, Yinkan package, went up just under 300 points, went up 290 points for essentially the meta Eldari list. And I got to say, more. Insert .gif more. Destroy them. So my fear is there is just another layer of dumb crap that we haven't seen out of this army, this faction that are probably about to be uncovered.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for another 6 months of Eldar being the best army in the game. It's going to be great.
I want to price up. So Void Weavers is one that I actually think got hit with a bit of foresight, because I think things like the Void Weavers, the Hornets, the Vipers, the Warwalkers was the next, what I thought would be the next logical layer. All these just min-maxing these amazing value light mech units that still have high enough toughness to kind of block out everyone's like non-anti-tank weapons and still like roll 50-50s against melter guns and plasma guns and crap like that. But that was what I thought was going to be the next take. So that has been hit as well. But I still think that even if all the damage dealers out of this army got hit, they still just have a lol, we just played the mission better than you fallback.
Yeah, everything's pretty expensive though, man. Like a lot of these infantry units are very expensive for toughness 3, 4+ save dudes. So I don't think we're going to see 2 weeks time, like two weeks of data slate events. I'm going to go 55% win rate, I think.
Yeah, I would be so happy with that, man. That'd be the best outcome. All right.
Yeah, that's where I think it's going to settle. It's still obviously good. The stratagems are just so good. It's hard to think that the book could be bad.
Yeah. All right. Next up is essentially the Agents of the Imperium. And all we need to tell you here is that for some reason, the Carlos Assassin, the easily the best one, went down by 25 points. Hilarious. It's down 90 points.
I don't get it.
I don't understand. I don't understand why. It's so good. Apart from that, nothing really relevant changed, apart from what we've already said about the exaction squads and the voicements and stuff. Moving on to Astra Militarum.
You can take this one, Adam, because I don't know what's changed here, and I'm ready to be learned.
So ridiculously high points increases on the indirect platforms. The Manticore went up 25 points, as did I think all the Earthshaker carriage. Dude, the Earthshaker battery 40 points more, 120 per. And where's the Medusa carriage went up 30. So if you were taking triple Earthshaker, your army went up 120 points for the triple Earthshaker batteries. So they annihilated the indirect. But at the same time, they reduced all the points on the Lehman Russes and the other big tanks. Like I think the Rogal Dawn went down 25 points. Sentinels went up by 10, I believe, on both. No, here's a really cute thing, yeah? The tank commander went down 35 points. The tank commander can take any gun. The Demolisher went down 20 points. So the Lehman Russ Demolisher is 20 points. Doesn't give an order, and it gets the thing where it gets to shoot its cannon into combat. That's the ability, who cares? For 5 more points, you get to issue an order from your tank, and you get shoot on death. Like, from your tank commander.
5 more points.
For 5 more points. Why would you just...
That doesn't seem worth, mate. Doesn't seem worth.
Not value. Would not do. Friend, essentially, it's free Overwatch when you die. Just free Overwatch. Just that ballistic skill. You just shoot them. It's absolutely bonkers. So Lehman Russes all went down. We'll see if they've gone down enough to make them relevant. But there are some really good stuff. Funnily enough, one of the best units in the book, freaking Gaunt's Ghosts, went down by, I think, 15 points as well. They were already like almost auto take for me. But yeah, I think Guard...
I don't know why. Yeah. They can't be buffing these random loan op units. It's just annoying. Like,
exactly right.
It just makes them more auto takes. That mechanic is already busted enough.
Well, see, that was the one thing that didn't get changed in the slate that I semi expected. Like, I expected loan up to maybe go out to 18 inches unless you were Epic Hero or something. If you're Epic Hero or even a leader, they couldn't join a user or some crap like that. Like, because yeah, it's absolutely oppressive. All right, but yeah, I think the Astra Militarum is one of the few factions that got the kind of Drakari treatment. But whether we'll see it's enough to create another archetype, or it's just like they're kind of giving you a bit of a turd sandwich in exchange for the giant douche. Because, man, the indirect got annihilated, absolutely annihilated.
And you know what? As it should. Indirect fire being oppressive is terrible for the game.
Well, it's exactly what you said. Is the best unit indirect or interactive? And it turns out like the best 6 units for Astra Militarum were all indirect platforms. So they all got
Gaunt's Ghost, mate. Gaunt's Ghost was one of the best units, and he doesn't have a gun.
It's pretty uninteractive, though.
Yeah, it is.
Next up is Black Templars, who made out like freaking bandits. I got to tell you, I am so hyped for Black Templars. Dude, Primaris Crusaders, 20 Primaris Crusaders for 280. Went down 40 points.
That's a lot of Primaris Crusaders for not a lot of points.
I 100% agree.
Do they do anything?
Well, they're just like 20 Space Marine bodies with a feel no pain. It's just kind of good value as is, in my opinion.
Yeah, the one guy who took it to WTC did really well, didn't he?
Did he? Oh, but you mean Olivier? Yeah.
Yeah, you're pasted, mate.
Well, his list was freaking cool, though. Like, legit.
It was cool.
It just wasn't...
I think he thought Vanguard vets could kill stuff, and they can't. Everything else about it was pretty cool.
He was a month early. That's all we got to say.
Yeah, actually was. He's got inside intel. I'm reporting him to G-Dubs. He's leaked his creator, whatever it was. He knew this was coming.
He did, 100%, undeniable. Grimoldus and Helbrecht, I actually think two of the best units in character leader units in the game, both went down to 95 points from over 100 points. So I had a Primaris Crusader list that had like 60 Primaris Crusaders in it, and I saved almost 200 points on that list. And it was, nice. I think it was already good enough as it was. Anyway, Blood Angels got similar treatment. Death Company down to 230 for 10 Death Companies. Actually, 260 with the jump packs, which I always taken with jump packs, is actually pretty good. In addition, Sangard at 350, so 35 points a model, is palatable for one unit, I think.
Yeah, they still just don't kill anything is the problem. The combat weapons are actually just not good enough.
So one unit of Sangard, I believe, is good. Any more than that is dumb, because one unit of Sangard with your Warlord in it pops off in melee. Without the Warlord, it doesn't get
but then you have to play Blood Angels, though, man. Then the whole army has to... No, here's the thing, though, right? Like, right. It's actually a problem, because then the whole army has to be Blood Angels, and you don't have enough good units.
That's fair. Where is the best unit in their army, which is the Libby Dread? Did it go down? So 170, what was it before? Libby Dread used to be... Libby Dread, went down 15 points. Dude, Libby Dread is good. If it was in a better army, Libby Dread would be apeshit bonkers.
Yeah, definitely. Libby Dread just in normal Marines, I think, would be solid.
Just send over the bombs every turn. But anyway, Blood Angels doing better than they were. We'll see how it turns out. You can tell me about Chaos Demons up next.
Oh, it doesn't get any better. It's the life of the demon player is cruel. So all of the stuff that was good or passable went up, and nothing really came down. So Bellacore up 20. I think the Bloodletters are down 10. Doesn't matter.
Bloodletters are down 20 points.
They're down 20, sorry. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The Bloodthirster is down 30, but it doesn't matter because he's still pretty awful. Demon Prince, the normal Demon Prince is down 10. Demonettes are down 20, I believe. Lord of Change is up 30. Great Unclaimed One is down like 30, but it doesn't really matter.
What are you talking about? They're amazing.
Flamers are up 5 points a model.
Yeah, correct.
Fiends are down 20 per 3, but it doesn't really matter. They're still not very good.
Lord of Change went up 30. Did you say that?
Yeah, I did. Changeling's up 15. And unfortunately, Shalaxi wasn't an auto take at 400. She is certainly not an auto take at 450.
She got shellacked. Oh, Shalaxi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not good. It's just not a good army. Sad. I really want it to be good, but it's just not.
Changeling, the only one I agree with is the Changeling going up 15. Apart from that, should not have touched anything else. It was fine. They weren't hurting anybody.
Man, Demonettes need to be like 90 points to get played the way they are. You are never taking a 120-point Demonette unit with like a 100-point character to go and hit things at strength 4.
Where's the horrors? Pink horrors at? How much are they cost?
They didn't change. 140.
Okay. If they had to come down, I would be like...
Blues are 125, my man.
Yikes. Hey, Screamers came down 10 points. Yay.
Cool.
Yep.
Well,
the crowd goes mild. Yeah, it's a rough... I don't know why. I see... If anybody was going to get the Drakari treatment where they, hit the big guys, buff the little guys, and like take a bunch of points off the small demons, I thought it would happen. I actually thought it would happen here.
Man, I thought all the lesser demons were going down 20 points a unit. I was so ready for it.
Didn't they? And it turns out it's not even enough. 140.
Pigs didn't. Blue didn't.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
Plague Bearers didn't get touched, did they? The Plague Bearers get touched?
Did. Yeah, Plague Bearers went down to 20.
Oh, okay.
125 for 10 Plague Bearers. That might be okay.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
They don't do anything, but it might be okay.
They don't do anything. That's true.
All right, I'll jump it down. Next up, we have Chaos Knights. You can tell us about this one as well if you want.
Yeah, Rampage down 10, Brigand up 10, Executioner up 15, Huntsman up 15, Carnivore, best 20. Knight in the book, by the way, down 20. Best Knight in the book down 20, and the Stalker up 15. Didn't touch anything else.
It kind of covers for each themselves, right? Because the Carnivore going down 20 covers for the plus 10 on the Brigands, right? If you took 3 Carnivores, you're breaking even.
I'm net positive, mate.
Beauty.
I'm actually net positive.
That's hilarious. It was 15 on the Rampage and not 10, but it doesn't make a difference. Same shit.
Oh, it was at 395. There you go.
Yeah, whatever.
Yep. You're still not playing the Rampager.
Yeah,
it's fine.
This is okay. I don't quite know why they needed to. I didn't think they would need to change any of these points, to be honest. It was kind of fine the way it was.
Brigands were cheap, man.
That's true.
150 points for hitting on 2 platform plus 1 AP. It's like Brigands were cheap. Don't know why Carnivores came down because it's the best Knight in the book.
Watch out for the Huntsmans and the Executioners, guys. They're coming for you. And those Stalkers, 15 points on the fact that they hit Executioners and Stalkers harder than they hit Brigands. That's pretty funny.
Do you know what it is, Adam? I think they're trying to stop you from getting 14. That's what I think it is.
Oh yeah.
This is the you're only allowed to play 13 small Knights.
That might be fair. There might be like some magical tipping point that happens, but that's kind of fair. Dude, 13 is a lot already.
That's what I played at the VTC, and it was great. Man,
it's a lot. All right, Chaos Space Marines up next. Interesting stuff here. So Abby went up by 30. I love that a Curse Cultist stayed the same because I think at not 190 for 16 is actually pretty good. What else happened here, do you know of?
So Chosen went down, I'm not sure how much, but down to 110. They're pretty attractive at 110.
Down 1 point per model, essentially.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Forge Fiend up 15. Obliterators up, is it 5 per model? They were 5 per model for a Blitz.
Yeah.
Possessed down a point a model. Raptors down, I think it's point a model. Warp Talons down, I think 2 points a model for Warp Talons.
They are down 30 points across a 5-man.
Okay, so it's
They're
60 model, really?
Yeah, 20 points pop now.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Legendaries down 20, and that's about all that really matters. The Rhino's down 10 points.
Importantly, Terminators didn't change. I'm happy to see that they thought 390 was accurate, and I do believe 390 is accurate for them for a unit of 10. They're probably exactly where they should be.
Yeah, I think CSM are in a really good spot.
Me too.
I've written a few lists today with one of my coaching clients who wants to take CSM to a GT next weekend. And yeah, I think they're in a really good spot.
I think so too. The internal balance between the Blitz and the 4Gs might have to change, but I think fundamentally they didn't lose much, and most of their Predators got hit pretty freaking hard. Most of the things that used to put them in the ground, just like out of hand, now can't do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's net, like I said, net neutral for that army. I think the power is going to be about the same as it was before. It's good.
Next up is Dark Angels, which I'll take. Azrael went down 15
Oh, will
points.
you, Adam? Will you take the Dark Angels?
Shush, out of the way, you. Not a lot changed, to be honest. Deathwing Knights stayed the same at 470 for 10. But the fact that they're still getting play, especially at the top level, is enough for me to shut up about that. Pretty much 1 point per model came off all the other Termies, the Command Squad and the Terminator Squad. The Lion stayed the same. His best ability, which was the aura of 4 up against mortals, now doesn't do anything because that's, devastating wounds changed. Black Knights went down 5 points for 3, 10 points for 6, same as the Command Squad went down a little bit more. Command Squad went down 3 points per model. 5 points per model. I still think that's not enough. They're still so expensive and they're very squishy. Sammy went down to 15 points. Samael is an extremely good model. Even if you're just playing by himself, he's an extremely good model. So that is relevant. And then 10 points off the Talon Master at 105. So maybe they'll see some play now because they were languishing a little bit because they just kind of don't do anything anymore. But yeah, for the most part, Dark Angel's relatively the same, essentially. Azrael down 15 is hilarious because he's freaking amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to hear. I don't really know. Again, I know kind of like a few of the Dark Angel units that matter, but it seems like nothing's really going to change there, I don't think.
No. We're waiting for a Codex as well. We'll see what the Codex doth bring. Next up, we have Death Guard, and everything got better because everything got cheaper, so that is better.
Yeah, I don't really know what's important here. I guess it's the Terminators, Mortarian.
Morty's down 45 points.
Yeah, Plagueburst Crawlers went down, I think, 15. Were they 180
10.
before?
They went down. They're 175 before. Went down 10.
And what the Terminators? How much did the Death Shrouds go down? I see they're 250 for 6 now.
Blight Lords went down 2 points per model. And where are the Death Shrouds? Death Shrouds went down 15, so went down 5 points per model as well on all Termies. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Blight Drone being 100 feels good.
Yeah, it does. It actually does, doesn't it? Mythic Blight Haulers, which I know we're getting play, they went down 15 points per model. They're 100 points each as well. That's actually not too bad. Plague Marines is now 80 for 5. Actually not too bad. I actually don't mind them at 80 points for 5 because they are very durable for just sitting objectives. So 80 points doesn't feel too bad.
Yes, it's weird. It's 80 for 5, but it's 110 for 7. So the 7, the extra 2 costs you less per model than the 5 do. No, look at that.
Yeah,
be themey, boys. It pays to be themey.
Incentivized.
Typhus is 100 points. That seems pretty good.
Yeah, dude, the Taliban, I don't know what he does, but he's only 45 points. That seems very cheap.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
seems okay. Yeah, 45 points for anything is pretty good these days in this economy.
I agree. But yeah, hopefully...
Death Guard Icon Bearer is 45 as well, mate. I have no idea what that unit does.
Yeah, watch out. The icons are coming for you. Death Watch are dead. Essentially. Their veterans went up 2 points per model for the Death Watch veteran squad. The Fortis kill team stayed the same. Proteus kill team went up the same again. So the veterans and the Proteus are the only really things that got touched. The Spectrus went down 1 point per model, as did the veteran bike squad went down a couple of points per model. Not a huge amount of changes. All the changes here happened with their strats and essentially their best unit, the Desos getting nuked it.
Yeah, I think that Death Watch are still okay, but they're definitely not as good as they were before.
Just wait and see with the Codex. Maybe that'll revamp a bunch of the internal balance of different units. And maybe the Death Watch is just putting their rules on a bunch of Death Watch specific units, like many others, like Blood Angels, for example. Tell us about Drukhari, mate.
I count 17 changes, and none of them matter.
Shit. Okay.
It's kind of sad. So keynotes of Ravagers went up 20, which is probably fair because Ravagers were really good.
Amazing.
A whole bunch of the combat came down. Witches are down 30, I think. Incubi are down 2 points a model. Draz is down like 20. It just doesn't matter because the combat's garbage. Cabalite's down 10, which is nice. Talos, Talos didn't change.
No, that didn't change.
Scourges are down 2 points a model.
Yeah, that's nice.
I think it all just adds up to net neutral. Like when you take your cabs, take your Ravagers, you take your your Mandrakes or your Scourges or whatever else go in that army. I think it's just net neutral. I think you end up with the same number of points essentially. Doesn't really help them very much.
Well, hopefully then the meta changes are enough to give them a new lease on life. We can only hope.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Let's go with that.
I'm not too hopeful.
I'm trying. GSC is up next, and they took a swathe of hits. In fact, I don't see a single... Oh, wait. Pure Strain, Gene Steals went down 1 point per model. Apart from that, everything else that I can see here went up. Aberrants went up 2 points. They're now 20 points extra for a 540 point. Dude, 370 for 10 Aberrants. That's a choice now. You can't just auto that in. That's huge.
Yeah, it's Acolyte Hybrids up 2.
2
Jackals up a little bit.
Where are the
Neos? Neophytes went up 30? 30 to 20. So 1.5.
I've only got them here as going up 1 point per model. From 80 to 90, 160 to 180 for the 20
man. So it's 20 man. That's right. Yeah, it's 20 man. Yeah.
Importantly, like in Nexos, the same, which was huge.
Primus to 90.
Yeah, Primus up 5. That is... wait a second. Yeah, no, Primus up 20. Good. I was about to say, please let some of their insanely valued characters go up in points.
Yeah. Saboteur to 65.
Yeah, that's kind of fine. You'll still take them. Maybe you don't take 3 anymore. But for the most part, this seems reasonable. I mean, Aberrants is going to be a hard sell at 370, but maybe you still just have to have them to play.
They already weren't good. They already were bad.
I didn't rate them. I much prefer just the more stuff approach. And now they come back on 5s if they die past turn 2. Bit of a rough sell. Achilles Ridge Runners went up 10 points as well, and we know they are ubiquitous. You must have them, otherwise you just don't do damage. So, I see a lot of attacks here. There's possibly losing at least 150 points across your usual army.
Well, you probably just don't take max characters because you can now.
You can't. You're exactly right. You can't afford
to. You actually have to make choices rather than just taking everything.
Yeah, legitimately. But the thing is, now you take less squads that don't come back as much. So you're gonna have the premium squads and the non-premium squads, and you're gonna have to use them very differently than what you used to. You can't be just throwing your crap against the wall and see what happens. Mind you, getting your stuff killed early might pay off because you come back on 3s, but if you don't come back and you threw your stuff away, whatever. There's lots to unpack with GSC. Grey Knights.
Yeah, you can't throw away Aberrants at that price point, right?
Absolutely, dude. Oh no. Yeah, freaking God no.
Tell us about GK's brother. What's important?
Almost the same as like on a scale of Votan and others. You just have to rethink a Grey Knight army now because essentially you just gotta 100 plus points. A whole new unit can come into every list. Purgation squads, which previously they absolutely shot into the stratosphere points wise, have come down 55 points.
Yo, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, that's 55 points for 5 guys.
Yeah.
Paladins have come down a couple as well, which is nice. Nemesis Dread Knights came down 30. Might be enough to see them get onto the table. Interceptors came down 25 points, so it came down 5 points per model, which is very nice because they were off their guts overcosted. Terminators came down 15 for 5, 30 for 10. That's another nice change because these are some ubiquitous squads everyone's going to take. So essentially everything went down. Strike Squad has been the last one I'll point out who came down 2 points per model. So 5 strikes that have 2 wounds each and a 2+ save for 125 you don't love it, but you're not going to hate yourself when for having him on the table.
Yeah, cool. Well, hopefully it puts them back on the table because the army is actually cool. Like, there's a lot of fun rules in GK.
Legitimately,
just the units are a little bit too expensive.
I 100% think they have the best rules of actual rules. Their data sheets are all over the freaking place, and none of them quite do enough damage, especially from range. But their actual rule set is, I think, the best in the game. They're so good. They're so much fun. All right, Imperial Knights. There's not much to say here except for yikes.
There's only 3 changes. So Helverins and Warglaves to 150, and Canis Rex up to 460. Well, I think that's
down. So Canis Rex came down from 490 to 460, which is why I'm thinking he's the. If you're going to take one big knight, and you can't think of which one to take, just put in Canis.
Yeah, interesting, because he was actually getting play already. They brought him down.
Yep.
But all good. I guess. Not players are playing Canis Rex, right? Like, that's kind of what's happening.
Correct. Leagues of Votan is up next with everything going down. The things that people have, the things that I know that were already good is the Hearthguard, which came down 15 points for 5, 30 points for 10. That was essentially the only good unit in their book. And now they are pretty well costed, 300 for 10 of them. And they are durable with a good save and minus damage. And Thunderkin is another one that some people have already been pointing out as possibly being where there could be some gas. Coming down 20 points for 3, 40 points for 6. 150 for 6 Thunderkin seems pretty decent value. You know anything about these guys?
Look, I just think that, it's a danger thing, right? Because they buff the rules and they decrease the points costs on everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we're in any danger of Votan becoming, next level, top OP broken, whinge about it on Reddit overnight. But I think the points changes plus the rules changes, like, I think Votan are going to be okay. I think there's going to be some play here.
Yeah, I really hope there is. And it looks pretty spicy. Like, I do like what I'm seeing. I still think the Hecaton's not good enough. I just don't think it does anything. But I think if you were to make an army of Hearthguard and Thunderkin and Sagittars, etc., if you can find any Sagittars, that is, they're 100 points. I think they're amazing. You're cooking with a decent list. Next up, here is what I predict to be the unwelcome army into the new meta. This is Necrons. Biggest things I'll point out here is that Warriors went down in points. Warriors went down 1 point per model. And that is crazy. 220 for 20 guys.
I cannot understand that at all.
Whew. Well, I already thought Warriors were better than Lichguard, and that seemed to be what people were doing. They're either taking Lichguard or taking Warriors. Lichguard went up by 40 points for your 10-man. They're now 230 for 10 Lichguard, or you can have 220 for 20 Necron Warriors. And I absolutely
this is evidence that someone doesn't know what they're doing. Honestly,
Could be.
Straight up, Doomsday Arcs going up, they were garbage. Lichguard were not the best way to play. I mean, to be fair, Lichguard probably needed to go up with how durable they were, but not
Lichguard
with Warriors coming down.
Correct. I think you put them both up. The fact that they just literally pointed your nose directly towards what I already thought was the superior option. As long as you didn't play Eldar, which, I mean, who cares? You played Eldar, you lose anyway, whatever. But 100%, I thought Necron Warriors were better.
So Crypto Thralls are up 10. Heavy Destroyers are up 5.
So here's the thing. A unit of Necron Warriors with 2 Crypto Thralls is the same points. Because they went down 20 and the Crypto Thralls went up 20. So it's exactly the same points as it is now. Did not change. That metric did not change. And it was already crazy good. I think the Reanimator went up though. Yeah, Reanimator's up 10. So that's something at least.
I don't think any of the important characters have gone up.
So Hexmarks went up 10. They were pretty important. But mind you, with GSC taking a huge hit, Hexmarks are probably way less needed. Ghost Arcs stayed the same. Ghost Arcs were very good. Is it the Technomancer or the Crypto? Technomancer stayed the same.
Doesn't matter because none of them changed.
None of them changed. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But
the Warrior Necron list is the best list in the game.
I think it might just be the best list in the game. And we will see. We'll see if there's any of the NID stuff that can contend with it, because they can throw just as much oppressive OC, if not more, from some of their builds. And also, they have a lot of Battleshock spam, so they can just Battleshock you off your OC as well. So Silent King down 50 points, probably still not enough, but I thought I'd point him out because it's cute. Who knows?
Yeah.
Did the Catan, the problematic Catan shard go up?
Trans-Catan's 300 now. I think it was 280
80,
before.
yeah, it's gone up 20 points. That's good. That's something at least. All right.
Cool.
Orcs is
All
up
right.
next.
Yeah, so I don't really know what has gone up or down. I assume it's almost all gone down.
So there's a couple of things that went up. The Beast Boss went up by 10 points, which I think is good. No, sorry, 20 points rather, which I think is good. The Beast Boss was fundamentally amazing. But apart from that, everything has pretty much stayed the same or come down. I'm going to try to see if I can find anything else that went up.
Meganobs are just straight 30 points a model now. They used to be all over the place.
Yep.
Yay. It used to be every Meganob you bought made the model cost a different amount. It was quite funny. Trucks to 60 instead of 50. I think that truck spam was a little bit annoying.
I think it's still alive and well, though. 50 to 60 doesn't break the bank. Mech guns have gone up 10 points a model as well. Apart from that, everything else looks like it's come down. Big Track went up 15. So, yeah, they have been cognitive of the transport meta that could have been around the corner, and they have hit that pretty hard. Like there was triple Big Track, a freaking 6 truck lists at WTC that have gone up 105 points just for the transports.
Yeah, well, that's good. Again, like oppressive MSU is a problem for the game as well.
Yeah, for sure. But all their best infantry units, like Storm Boys, stayed the same. Where are the Commandos? Stayed the same. Looters went down in points weirdly in a bunch of different ways because they got spanners and weird stuff going on there. But here's the big one: Captain Vadrock down 15 points. Everybody, take a bow. We did it. Flash gets unchanged as well. So that package went down by 15 points. Happy days.
Yeah, nice.
Overall, I think Orcs are going to be a huge player in the next meta. I think they're going to be right up there. No worrying about Dev Wounds picking up a 10-man of anything anymore.
Yeah, I think Orcs are a stealth winner here. I think there's some big wins for them there.
The Space Marines, I don't quite know how much I can speak to Space Marines with a Codex around the corner because I'm not sure it matters. Everything I say right now is probably going to be
Aggressors up, Sense down, like the Infiltrators up a little bit.
Aggressors down by 10.
Oh, sorry.
For 3, down by 20 for 6.
I thought it was the other way around. Okay.
Nah, it looks like they're down.
Like the 3 Gladiators,
I'll quickly tell you.
The same 160 for the Lancer, 150 for the Reaper and Valiant.
The Lancer went up 15. The other 2 came down 5. So
yeah, it checks out.
It does check out.
Redemptor Dread's 210. I think it was like 5 points. It's not much in that.
It's still not enough regardless, but I'll tell you right now. No, it went down 15, but still 210's too much. Yeah, still
and like Sternguard are very slightly up as well. It's 1 point a model.
Yes, they are. Exactly correct. But yeah, a lot of the stuff we'll just be waiting to see what the Codex does to them. Terminators went down a fair bit. Terminators down 3 points per model on the regular Terminators.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on them. But moving on to Space Wolves. Did anything? Bjorn went down 40 points. Lol. Cute.
Is it going to matter? Probably not. Wait, Lucas the Trickster's 50 now. I remember when this bloke came out. I remember when Space Wolves came out and he has the thing where when you kill him, he laughs and kills you with him. What does this moron do? Let's look it up because I actually don't even know. That's Lucius, not Lucas. I need to know what this bloke does for 50 points.
So Thunderwolves are down 10 points for 3, 20 points for 6. Wolfguard stayed the same, as did Wolfguard on Thunderwolf, went down 15. Wolf Lord on Thunderwolf stayed the same. Wolf Scouts went up. Wolfen went down by 20 points for 540 for the Max squad. Skyclaws went down 5 and 10 respectively for their unit size. Murderfang went down 20 as well. Longfangs stayed the same. Logan Gremnar, being Santa on his sleigh, down 55 points. Thank you very much. Still just demanding to be annihilated turn 1. What's Lucas doing?
I don't think it makes much difference. Oh, nothing. We're not going to talk about
it.
He does. It's if you really want to know, go look it up yourself. But you'll be as disappointed as I was. I don't want to deny that disappointment to some of your listeners, Adam. I want your listeners to feel that disappointment the way that I felt it.
I respect that. I respect you looking out for us, mate. But suffice to say, Space Wolves actually got a lot of decreases on a lot of their most thematic units and flavorful units. So hopefully they see a little play there. I have actually legitimately heard good things about some people using small units of Thunderwolf Cav. So maybe there is something there for 90 points for 3 for a good amount of movement and toughness. So we'll see if that comes true. We've got a couple left. Tau Empire. I am crapping my pants about how good I think Tau Empire made out of this, because everything went down. And I was of the opinion if any army could probably stay the same and maybe just have some slight tweaks, Tau Empire would be it, because I thought there were already situations where they were feeling oppressive. As a Space Marine player, a unit of 6 crisis suits is a world ender. And the fact that now I think it's pretty viable to take 2x6, 3x6, or, triple Riptide and 2x6 and stuff like that, freaking terrifying.
Yeah, it looks like everything's come down just enough that you fit, quite a bit more in the army now.
Yeah. Riptide's down 55, man. Riptide's for 180. Oof, yeah.
Dude, a Hammerhead's 130 now.
Really good. Really good, man.
Yeah.
But despite saying the crisis suits were, crazy, they've only come down 5 points a model. It's not ridiculous, but it's about how many points have been freed up around them, I believe. Because I think
that's still 30 for a 6-man, dude. That's actually it's pretty significant.
It's pretty good, yeah. So 360 for 6 of them, and they all come with more wounds and more guns than you can shake a fish at. But there is a lot here. Broadsides came down 20 as well. Mind you, broadsides loot with their feel no pain against mortals, not even being a thing really anymore. But still, 90 points for a broadside. Maybe you don't see the 3-mans anymore. Maybe it's just a couple of singles like it used to be. But I still think they're pretty attractive.
Yep, definitely, man.
Fish of Fury came down a bunch of points, so 20 points off the Devilfish. And where is the Breacher team?
Yeah, 75 for a Devilfish is very good.
Where's the Christ? Where's the Breacher team up the top? Sorry, 25 points. Yeah, dude. So 45 points came off of Fish of Fury. Wow.
Yeah, 165 for 10 breaches in a fish is pretty solid.
Pretty attractive.
This is going to be a thing. People are going to play this.
Absolutely. I think they're going to be a huge winner out of this. All right. Into T-Suns. What can you tell us here, man?
So everything is up. Everything that's good is up. Most of the characters are up between 10 and 15. The Infernal Master's 15. Exalt Sork on a disc is 15. Araman is
20.
10. 20.
Yeah.
Both versions 20? Oh, that's right. Yeah, it is
20. 25 for the disc version, 20 for the walking.
Rubric's up a point a model. Scarab Occult Termes up 2 points a model. Muta up 20. Magnus up 20.
Yep. 30 for Magnus. Is it 440?
30? I thought it was 420 before. No, plays it. Terminator Sorcerer up 10. Normal Sorcerer up 15. Yeah, all the characters are going up.
Which is
you're going to lose a solid unit out of the army.
Yeah, but that's where all the power was, right? The characters were literally 95% of the power. There was that plus Flamer.
Yeah, so the army still functions exactly the same as it was before. You're just going to have one less unit, essentially.
Yeah,
that's probably okay.
Does it significantly hurt their chances with a couple of their biggest issue armies kind of getting kneecapped?
No, I think they're probably fine, honestly.
Yeah. All right, moving
on. I would still be happy to play T-Suns at a big event, honestly.
Awesome. Just all 8 rounds next time?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, Tyranids.
We could probably do. Is it worth talking about Nids with a whole new book coming out that we don't have yet?
Apparently, these are relevant. Apparently, this is the new points. So, regardless of what's in the new book, this is what we're using. So I read off the thingy madoodle. But there are a bunch of increases here. Barb Gaunt's up 10, so up 2 points per model. Biovor's up 10 points per model. Carnivex stayed the same. Yeah, not enough. Destroy them. Absolutely destroy them. Exocrine is the same as well. That's a big deal. Death Leaper went down 10. Steelers are down a point per model. Haru Specs was a good one. Stayed the same. Yeah, boy. Haru Specs, absolutely baller. Funny enough, Hive Guard went up 10 points for 3.
Weird.
20 points.
Yeah, weird.
I mean, who cares? 15 points on the Hive Tyrant. Hormigans went down 5, so went down half a point per model, which actually is probably significant. Maliceptor's up by 5. Neurogaunts stayed the same. That's pretty nice. Tyrant stayed the same. Yeah, there's a lot here. Parasite and Mortrex, who I think is pretty playable, went down by 10 points as well. Pyros stayed exactly the same also. Ravenous stayed the same. There's a lot to like here. Rippers went down, or was that the Screamer Killer? Screamer Killer went down. Went down 10 points. Lol. So the Screamer Killer, who's literally like half as good as the Hara specs, still costs 45 more points.
Yeah, it's probably fine.
Such a lull.
It's probably fine.
Termagant stayed the same. And whatever. Funnily enough, the Tyrann effects, for reasons totally unknown, went up 45 points, despite, in my opinion, getting an actual nerf in the Codex. If that is correct, and these are the points that were used, when that Codex launches instead of the ones in there. That's pretty funny. Big one, Zoanthropes went up 20 points for 3, 40 points for 6. That's actually pretty big.
20. Wow. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize it was that much. Yeah, that's pretty big. They were too good, admittedly. Like, for what they were too good.
I agree. And I still think they'll get taken.
Yeah.
All right. Well, actually, this is... Oh, sorry. Last one. Sorry, I thought there was another one here. Do we have the World Eaters? Do you have any bead on this?
I think it doesn't matter. Like, there's some points dropped, so I just don't think it matters.
Well,
the army is just functionally not good enough. Like, it isn't killy enough. The units are still too expensive. Like, 6 Exalted 8-bound is still 300 points.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Like,
they have to cross. Like, they should get free rhinos, almost. You should almost just give them free rhinos at this point, just to get them back in the game.
Khorne Berserkers only function to give, like, a rule to a character. Like, you pay 100 points for 5 Berserkers so that a Master of Executions can lead the Berserkers. Like, that's literally how this army functions. It's just, the points drops don't matter.
I mean, it's nice. The people will get more stuff, and maybe they can, like, rumble in the B tier a little bit, but on some missions. But suffice to say, they just function in the wrong phase of the game.
Do you really get more stuff? I don't think you even really get that much more stuff. I don't think it's that significant.
So 20 points coming off 3 8-bound, 30 points coming off the Exalted 8-bound. Still, like you said, 300 for 6 Exalted 8-bound. Yikes. When it's it's yikes. Zerkers are 100 points for 5. I like 100 points for 5 Zerkers. I mean, on paper, that looks good.
Do you know what they do, man? They do literally nothing. They do negative damage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you pay the same for, like, Plague Marines. Wait, no, Plague Marines are 80 for 5. That is actually pretty funny. So yeah, Khorne Berserkers, precedent, put them down to 80. Khorne Lord of Skulls, 45 points dropped off that guy. But then all these rules got a little worse.
It's back where it started, because it was 460.
Dude, it did not need to go up. It made no sense of going up. 20 points have all come off the Demon Princes and the Defiler, the Forge, but 20 points have been put onto the Forge Fiend, 10 off the Hellbrutes, and the rest doesn't matter. Did the Land Raider go down? Land Raider went down 15. Maybe you can just cram enough stuff in enough Land Raiders. It's one day. And 1 point per model came off their Terminators. But yeah, that is the wrap-up. The extensive. Don't tell us we don't take our time. Thank you very much. Last week you said we were rushing our way through a 2-hour episode. That was a hilarious comment. This comment's just for you. I love you. Thank you for watching. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man. Give us your, like, closing thoughts on this balanced data slate endpoints changes.
It's net positive. Like, in general, the game is going to be better for more people. You know, there are definitely some things that haven't gone far enough. There are some things that have gone a little bit too far. But I'm really excited. Like, I'm really keen to go to, a couple of 40k events and see what wins, because, I think it's kind of up for grabs.
Straight up. I haven't played in a 40k event in 10th edition yet, because I actually legitimately haven't looked at it with enough. I mean, I've still played like 20-something games, but they've all been like garage games, picks-ups, just lolling and rolling dice with mates. I haven't.
Yeah, how many times do you lose to me? Heaps. It's great. Sorry. Let's just keep going.
But
I got him.
I haven't been that excited, and now I am. Legitimately, I have spent every moment that I've spent on my toilet since the thing dropped has just been building list, rather than being on Facebook. All the little breaks I get between work, building list, looking at the slate and trying to disseminate as much information as I can. So really exciting to feel invigorated about the game again, because I do have to say the first part of 10th was pretty uninspiring. But now I am wholly ready to embrace this edition. Out of 10, mate, how good would you say this pass has been by GW?
Oh, let's go 8. I think it's pretty good.
I think it is super. This might almost be the best one they've ever done. Well, I think they've only ever done one better than this, and this was, I think, the second or third pass that hit Nids and Harlequins and brought us into the Nephilim meta. I think that was the only time I've seen them do a better holistic job than this. I'm going to give it a 9. But yeah, super.
Is that only because the game was awful before they did it, though?
Yeah, but it was awful before they did the Nephilim one as well, with Tyrion is just like ruffle stomping.
That's fair.
It wasn't as, but you were correct. It wasn't as oppressive as Eldar has been here. That's undeniable. All right, mate. On that note, feel free to plug your wares again, and we'll go over and record that part 2.
Yeah. What was that? Oh, yeah, the AOWdu40k.com. I do coaching there. I write lists. I, help people get better at 40k and do things and win events and stuff like that. I don't know. If you're interested, you probably already know that it exists. If you don't, go read about it. Yeah. That's probably the worst, most scuffed promo ad ever. But you know what? I work in marketing. I've spent all day doing it. I'm not really keen on doing some in my free time anymore, mate.
Fair enough, mate. Apologies. I won't make you do it in the future. I'll just do it for you.
No. I get my plug. I come in here for an hour and a half. I earn my plug.
You absolutely do. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed our hottest of hot takes. Please to be taken with a grain of salt, especially on the factions that we do not play. But hopefully you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on part 2. Thanks very much, Matt. And enjoy the rest of your day, brother.
Thank you for listening to Art of War Down Under, a content review podcast for Warhammer 40k, hosted by Adam Camilleri, produced by Seamus Ronan. Enjoyed the show? Want your lists reviewed and the content you heard put into practice? Sign up to our Patreon and connect with us online or on Facebook. Just search for Art of War Down Under. Signing out from tomorrow.